this ready here.
And guess what time it is?
Ayo, it's time to go. Yeah, you know what it is. Get into it. Don't act like you don't already know the name. Let's go. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? You heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. Now it's on.
All right, welcome, welcome, mother and son making sense out of nonsense plus more.
Now one of us is supposed to say the second part. You can't have the whole title.
My bad. No, you're right. We agreed that if one of us starts it, the other one does the plus more. So if you're new to us or if you've been joining for a while and you still don't know what this is about, this is a show about spirituality. It's a show we talk about our relationship and we sprinkle in some nonsense, some lightness, some falderall, some balderdash, some malarkey. That's where the nonsense comes in.
A lot of malarkey. I like an extra dose of malarkey. And can I have a side of balderdash, please?
With a pinch of balderdash.
Yes, just a pinch. Not too much balderdash. I don't want to get too carried away.
No, no, no. We tried to have a whole segment of balderdash, and now we're just gonna sprinkle it in and just add a little bit of flavor here and there.
Thank you. Well, a little bit of business I want to share that the gentleman that's helping me with the YouTube channel. Oh, by the way, we are live on YouTube on my YouTube channel, Rebecca Norrington, and we're also live on Noom Vibe. So if you would like to join the show, just click on add to stage. You know how to do that. A little bit of business. So the my YouTube friend, he tested our name, Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense Plus More, and it got a 45 score. Now, I don't know what the hell a 45 score is, but he asked AI for more mm, conducive titles that is going to give us a higher score, and he found one that's 85. I hate it, but so when I post, it's what happens when a mother and son try to make sense out of nonsense.
That's interesting. I don't hate it so much. Well, it's a question.
I know.
I'm not mad at it. I thought it was going to be a lot shorter. I thought we'd have to sacrifice some of our length and the real heart of the title, but no, that's the heart is there. It's just framed a little differently. What happens? That's pretty good because we don't know what's going to happen. I'm not mad at it.
I'm a little piffed. I'm a little miffed and a little pissed, but I'm working it out. Maybe if we just posted like that, but I still go with mother and son making sense out of nonsense.
Plus more. Oh, is the plus more out of it? He took it out,
The
right?
plus more is out of it.
Well, the plus more is assumed.
No, the plus more is a necessity.
It's a necessity. Well,
Necessity.
speaking of necessities, we do need to be moving on, and I really like that. And so we have different segments that we sometimes bring back. Usually they do have some sprinkled nonsense in the segments, and then our topics, which we bounce back and forth over, are always going to be a topic of spirituality, our growth, our evolution. And there's a lot to talk about because we've done a lot of evolving.
A lot of evolving, even from last week. And let me say,
Yes.
I'm going to throw in a new, but this isn't an official word, but the word is segue. I was searching for that word last week, and someone added it to the chat. We segue from topic to falderall to segment. So it's a segue. That's just an extra word of the day. My word of the day is gesticulating.
Wow. Nice
Just
one.
gesticulating, not just articulating, jest, gesticulating, gesticulating. And as usual, I get most of my words of the day from Judge Judy. Did I say that out loud from the Judge Judy show? Yes. And so this word gesticulating means speaking or emphasizing with your hands,
Ooh.
gesticulating, hand movement. You gotta be expressive, hands gesticulating. So the word specifically means they were shouting and gesticulating frantically at drivers who did not slow down to make gestures, especially when speaking, arguing, gesticulating wildly. Isn't that us? Let's go.
That's a
Yes.
really that is a really good word, gesticulate. I didn't even know there was a word for that other than gesturing, but gesticulating is even better. So I'm assuming Judge Judy used that word, if you remember.
Yeah, I did remember. It was just yesterday. And I did remember because she says, stop gesticulating. I'm sure you were just gesticulating in the car. And so I said, oh, and I have to say, I love this word. I usually don't love the words, but this word I'm in love with. Gesticulating.
Yeah, that's very us. That's very you. It's not only a good sounding word, but we really could use that word, and that could be a yeah, one of our latest staples. I get my words usually from I do the
I
mini
didn't
cross.
ask. Can we get to
We'll
your
take that
word?
little commercial break there, and we're back. So that was that nonsense that we were talking about earlier.
Can we get to your
So
word today?
yes, well, I get my words usually from my mini crossword puzzles that I do daily to keep my mind a little sharper since I'm not in school anymore. But anyways, my word is axiom.
What?
You heard me. Axiom. Axiom. And an axiom is a statement that is regarded true or accepted by many people without proof. So some synonyms for axiom is a principle, general truth, or a saying. So using it in a sentence, an old axiom in football is that games are won and lost on turnovers and big plays. A legal axiom states that justice and law are not always the same. So it's like a saying, it's like a something we know, but it's not proven, but it's known by the majority.
So an axiom is a slogan.
Yeah, it's like a slogan of sorts.
Okay, well, I'm going to use the word slogan
Use the
because
word
I'm not
slogan. We'll
very.
see if we can slip in axiom. So that
Okay.
was fun.
Well, let me also say to the listeners, thank you for listening. And this is a show so you can tune in, so you can tune out. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
So, yes.
Topic.
Topic.
I have a topic. This is I teach the Truth About Happiness classes at UNLV, and our topic for that class last Tuesday was what to practice before and after the election results. And this is for people that are attached to an outcome, attached to have expectations and have a story that if fill in the blank gets elected, this country's doomed. These are for those people, and I have to say I've graduated and practicing not. I do have a side, but I'm graduating practicing not having sides but I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. How, in fact, one of my students asked me. He said, "Well, happiness. What are you doing having a side in the first place?" I said, "I'm working on it. I'm practicing not having a side, not having a cause, not having a preference." all of that subtracts from happiness. However, if you do have a side and you do have preferences, the what to practice is, number one, you cannot blame anyone or the circumstances for how you feel. Let go of trying to control anything outside of yourself, complaining, watching the news morning, afternoon, and night, taking anything personally, worrying, future and unfounded future fear, needing to be right, and being critical.
Are you talking to me?
No. But
Good.
if you feel compelled to take on that, yes.
Well, I'm going to gesticulate what I wanted to say in response to the election, what to do before and after the election. So
Please.
so yes, because I am guilty of that, uh, being in fear of what's going to happen, and also being in that anticipation, that anxiety. And I mean, I feel pretty detached from it, but I'm still getting texts from I like an automated service. It's just a lot of talking about it. So even I can feel that anxiety. And for me, the first thing that came to me is keeping my focus on the moment, just being right here in the moment, and taking one little step at a time. So if there's really something that I want to change, or if I want to be a part of this system, the political government system, and I want my voice heard, or whatever I want to do, I just think of, well, what is my next step? Other than just sitting here being afraid and being in my head. Do I write a letter? Do I make a social media post? Do I watch a news article or newspaper? Like, what is my next step other than just being afraid?
Well, you asked the right person.
Right. Oh, I didn't even realize I asked. Well, that was a mistake. Well, I'm curious to hear what your yeah, what's your response?
And you're absolutely right when you say talk about the anxiety and the nervousness and future fear, and is from all of that is based on the humanness, the person. And so when I identify with my human, then I am going to be nervous about the future and worried and concerned, and this is serious and this is important. And the answer is to trust. This is my practice. Trust and believe that even this country has a destiny, and there's nothing I can do about it. Do I have control over what's going to happen? Do I have control over anything outside of myself? And the answer is no. So that means that I am not going to allow anything outside of myself to take me up or down.
Yeah, that's a really good one too. That I think I play a part, and it's just me. It's my part, and in the grand scheme of things, it's really small. And one thing that's coming to me, because I do have fears sometimes that the technology and AI and the way the world is changing, if I think about it and let my mind wander to these thoughts, I can start feeling fear. And one thing that helps me is, I pinpointed this fear, is just a fear of things changing and things evolve and things end and new things begin, and it's always been like that. So this is just the phase we're in, and I just happen to be living right now, and there are always going to be things changing. So that story of I'm afraid because things are changing, or things are changing for the worse, that's a false story, false narrative.
And not only is it a false narrative, it's not the truth.
That's what I mean by false. And
Oh,
going back to one topic I wanted to bring up, going back to last week, is complaining. And because we had our guests on the show, he mentioned complaining, or not guess what, he popped on and he's talked about complaining, and I've been thinking about that topic of complaining and noticing when it happens for me, noticing when I either do it in my head or it comes out of my mouth. And I'll give you an example, but I went out for Halloween and I
Wait a
was
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You went out for Halloween dressed as, and you didn't invite your mother. Keep going.
right. Didn't invite my mother, didn't invite anyone, just went with one friend dressed as that pole vaulter from the Olympics, but I really wasn't dressed as him. I just wore a wrestling singlet that kind of looked like him.
Great.
I mean, you asked.
I did.
So
And now I'm
anyway,
sorry I asked. No. No.
So, anyways, I went out. I was 50-50. Felt like I would have been cool just staying at home, but I decided to go out to a bar that I've never been to. It's a local bar. It's very close, small, and I enjoyed it. It was a change up, but I also was a little uncomfortable just because it was different for me and it was crowded. Anyway, the point is I found myself complaining about, oh, it's too crowded. Oh, the karaoke music's too loud. Oh, I can smell smoke from outside. Oh, blah 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 blah. And I was thinking, wow, I'm hearing myself complain. And the truth is, I just felt a certain way. And I mean, I can choose to put a story onto it because of the people or music or whatever it is. But I was just feeling a certain way. And that complaining to me is just letting the ego take control of the wheel and come up with reasons and explaining and complaining. So I cut that out as soon as I noticed it was happening.
And that's what I thank you for sharing that, Nathan. That's what I say. The awareness is the work. As long as I'm aware of what's going on, that my ego is taking over, trying to take over. Yeah, the awareness is everything. By
Yeah.
the way, before I forget, tomorrow is daylight savings. So I wanted to remind you and let you know, because that's what my mother did all of her life. She called me and let me know that daylight savings, and I knew something was up when she didn't call. She always called for daylight savings, and that's when she started really going downhill. However, tomorrow is daylight savings. This is your mother reminding you.
Yes. Spring forward, fall back.
Yes, so change the clocks back.
Back. Back. Go back. Come back.
Go back, back,
Come back.
come back.
Come back.
Come- Now, what movie is this from, audience?
Uh,
Come back, come back. Come back.
Now that's a really good segment idea.
I love that idea, from movies that everyone knows to what movie is this from? Come back.
Well, I think they're ready for the answer if they don't already know.
Okay.
It's Titanic, but they know that.
Oh, okay. We have a smart audience.
all one of them.
No, I think we have 3 people watching now. By the way, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Remember, this is the show you tune into so you can tune out.
Like
Let's
I
go.
like-
Let's segue to another topic, which you brought it up last week, which I loved. Doing it right, doing it wrong.
yes, good one. I have one for you, so I'd love to hear yours first.
Oh, you want mine first?
Yeah,
Okay.
or you want me to go first? No, you go
Too
first.
late. Too late. I'm holding in my hand, if you're watching me live on YouTube, a knife and a fork. This is my favorite fork. And I didn't even buy this fork when I had a roommate. He left this fork. And so it's my favorite from California. Anyway, the correct way to hold a fork and a knife. You do not hold a fork like this unless you're cutting a steak. And this is the correct way to cut the steak. Holding the knife like this, the fork like this, top of the finger. This is the correct way to hold the fork like this. not like this,
Mm.
not like this. It's like this with a nice crossover thumb and pointer. Very delicate. And then when you put the fork in your lips, you do in your mouth, you do not let your teeth
No
touch the
scraping.
fork. No scraping the fork, or else Rebecca Norrington is going into a trauma state.
That's a really good one. I have to agree. And then can I add on one thing? What about the fork touching the plate? You know how it makes that clinky, clinky, clinky? Is there a right way and a wrong way with that, or it just clanks the plate and that's okay?
I don't even notice the clanking of the plate, but I'm glad that you noticed that. Is that a thing, clanking of the plate?
It is. Well, I noticed it. I noticed it a few days ago when I had a very small dinner gathering, and no one was talking, and I noticed there was a lot of clanking, and and I didn't know. I felt like they were doing it on purpose at one point. It was just so
You know
loud.
what? You know what? This doing it on purpose to you, this stuff has got to stop. Nobody's doing anything to you on purpose.
It
No
was a
one.
joke.
Oh.
Anyways, I'll go. I really like your right wrong way. That was really good, and I have to agree. So I'm gonna do my right wrong way. This is a water bottle, plastic or glass, doesn't matter. If you're listening on live on YouTube, I'm holding a water bottle. This is the right way to drink and screw on and unscrew the cap. So once you have your drink,
Oh.
you gotta do that. Then when you screw the cap back on, you don't leave it off, number one. That's the wrong way. And
That's true.
you don't just tap it on, because look it, now it's falling over and you might forget that it's half on, half off. Now we're spilling water. You screw it on gently, but not too tight. So you wait till you feel a little resistance, then you don't screw it all the way in, because then you have to use all your muscle to screw it off. So it's
That
that's
makes a lot of sense.
that's right. I thought about this yesterday. So that's the right way.
One word for you: genius.
Thank you. You too.
Well, thank you.
Which leads me to my next topic. Well, segment. There's two of them. This is a new segment, so it's a surprise for you, and it's called Apple Tree. So Apple Tree is
Oh,
is doing things that our parents did, whether we realize it or not. Hence, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree.
I love this segment. Apple tree. Yes.
So, my apple tree segment and my apple didn't roll too far is I'm a teacher, I'm a fitness instructor teaching a lot of different classes at the gym. And my mother was and still does the same thing. So I didn't plan on this. I didn't want to do it. I didn't expect to do it, but I'm doing it just like she did. And the other apple part is becoming a lot lighter in class, sillier, not taking it too seriously. I mean, I still have my own teaching style. That's important to me, but
Which
just
is very, very, by the way, if you want to go to his class, make sure you do everything right. You have to keep your ears open. You have to do exactly what he says, or else he'll get mad. Did I say that out loud?
no, I'm glad you said it out loud because it's true. So I'm glad you said it and not me.
Can we reminisce? There was one time we were in California together. This is when you were living with me. Oh, those were the good old days. But I digress. And Nathan was showing me was doing a simulated yoga class, very short. I think he wanted to show me a stretch. I don't even remember, but we were in that little area. What did we call that area that was
Was
just
that our
open space?
meditation room? I
The
don't know if we called it.
meditation room, yes,
Yeah.
the meditation room. And I was sitting down, and this young man was so serious about teaching me yoga and teaching me a different pose and stretching. And he was so serious that I couldn't help but just start laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. And the more I laughed, the madder he got. The
And the
madder the
madder I
yoga.
got, the more she laughed, and it was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. And I really questioned myself as a teacher. I questioned myself as a son, as a person. It was pretty terrible, and we didn't have any other simulated classes for years, maybe ever after that. Well, no, we did do it later, but it took a long time.
Yes, one of the things that is on this list about you wanted to feel a little bit more contentment and happiness is not taking anything too seriously, or and it's not that important. But it was a fun time for me. I just remember not being able to stop laughing, and the more I laughed, the madder he got, which made me laugh even more. It was a disaster of our mother and son relationship, and it's lucky that we even talk to each other today.
It's so true. We've had some really good ones that have challenged us and our peace, and we've made it through all the way to doing this show together.
Yes, yes, it only took about 40 years to get the show together, but I digress. Next topic
Next topic.
or segment.
Well, I'll do a copycat, and this is another segment. And maybe we could turn it into a topic, but this is called copycat segment, and these are things that I've copycatted from you, and you've copycatted from me, and I hate to say it, but I am humble enough at this point in my life to say there are certain things that you do well, or you do that I want to do too, or there a quality that you have, or the way that you carry yourself that I want to. So I humbly and graciously copycat you.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, unlike this show, which is nonsense, but that makes sense. Yes, I understand why that you would want to copycat, emulate the global happiness specialist, also known as your mother, the inner peace practitioner, also known as your mother. Yes, I understand it. I definitely get it.
Gesticulate it.
I'm gesticulating.
So yeah, I don't really have anything in specific, but I just thought if something comes to mind, or maybe even this week where we remember ways that we've copycatted each other, that could be a fun segment.
I love that. Yes, that's a great idea. Great idea. Okay, so let me go into my Soarington. This
Yeah.
is the topic where we call it Soarington, which is during the week that I was that my ego took over, and my ego was bothered and annoyed and irritated. And it goes right back to a neighbor. I have a few neighbors that I chat with, communicate with, and one of the neighbors inevitably just loves to talk about yesterday. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here
All
to
my
stay.
presents seem so far away.
Oh, my son seems so far away. Why doesn't he move close to me around the corner? Oh, that would be so good tomorrow, not yesterday, tomorrow.
So let's hear about this yesterday neighbor, the neighbor obsessed with yesterday.
Well, so this is the problem. They hook me in. Everybody can hook me in with
Mm.
dangling in my face something to eat. So he texts me, I made homemade chili, and he's a very good cook. I made homemade chili, and would you like some? Now, in order for me to go to get my homemade chili, I have to go over there and talk to them. I can't just
Girl,
text
I
and
get
say,
it.
hey, leave it out on the porch.
I mean, I wish you could. I believe me, I get it. Food is my weak point too. Hey, we're making this, we're cooking this, we're preparing this. I'll see you there.
Oh, so that's another apple from the far from the tree.
It is apple far from it. It's an apple tree story, and no, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be bringing anything other than myself,
Get it? And my appetite.
my appetite, and a container so I could take some home to and have it tomorrow.
Right?
I know, right?
I actually told somebody in my life, and I even had this conversation. He called me on the phone, and I said, "Can you stop saying right so often? Always with the right, right, right. I mean, that's the new thing, right and like right, right." And no, I did tell him stop saying right so often, and
It's really funny.
but of course, nobody listens to me, and
Well,
there's
that's a
even
tough one. I mean, that's really tough to change the whole. That talk about a habit. So I'm gonna put that on our next segment, and I want to go back to your story. The segment is called "Right Likes and Right." It's right likes and the like.
no. How about this? Right, likes, and what's wrong with all of it?
Oh, I thought you guys. What's wrong with
Right,
all of it? Like,
right, likes, and what's wrong with
or
them?
we could say right like and what's like wrong with all of
Oh my goodness! Right, like, and what's like wrong with them?
it. We'll work on that. We'll tune in for next week.
Yes, I can't wait. Anyway, so I go over, and of course it's the same thing. And I found out about, and the gentleman loves to talk about yesterday. In fact, that's the only thing he talks about. And I heard about his fascinating story when he went hunting when he was 14 years old in Idaho. That was just one of the stories, in one ear and out the other. My point is, I already know what's going to happen. I know my audience, and so I was prepared to calm my ego down and just relax. You can have patience. You can accept, and without this underlining intention to, uh, yeah, I'm still, because he just got out of surgery. I'm still healing. Well, not just got out, but maybe a few months, and weeks of therapy. I've got 8 more weeks of therapy. It's very frustrating. And so usually I say, "Oh, but look at the bright side." And this time I didn't say one thing. I didn't try to pull him out of his misery, his sadness, his complaining. I just it my responsibility was to accept him complaining and get over, really get scratch that, transcend judgment and wanting the moment to be different.
That's so many good things in there that I can totally relate to. And what I was telling you about, my little dinner gathering, was similar to that. And I talked myself through it before I went. I said, I don't know exactly who's going to be there or what people are going to talk about. I'm assuming it's going to be more on the side of small talk and stories, not deep conversation. So, and I do want to practice my ability to hang in those conversations with people I don't know, and not all the time, but just have a little practice. And it's just exactly what you were saying. It's practicing acceptance, non-judgment, and just that feeling that, I'm so frustrated that this moment isn't different, that he isn't saying something different, that they're not doing something different. Just hanging on to that story. And it's really, so I just kept, relaxing into it. Even when I thought I was going to leave, well, I left probably 25 minutes later than what I thought. It's just the way it flowed, and I was trying to accept that too. And yeah, I really relate to that acceptance, non-judgment.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
You said you left later than what you expected. So when you go places, you have a time, you time yourself as to when you're going to leave, or is it all inspired action?
Well, this is what and think this was what I was going to bring up, was it's a little bit of both. So I had a soft exit time in my head just to have an idea that how long I'm going to stay for, and then I incorporated some flexibility with that. Because part of my strategy with that acceptance and non-judgment, or if I'm in a situation that's just not quite my cup of tea, then it helps me to know when it's going to be over. That I'm not just forcing myself to accept it for a long time. I can accept a little bit. It's like lifting weight that's just too heavy for me. It's like I can handle as much as I can handle, and then once I've reached my limit or close to my limit, then I just call it. I humbly call it. I don't need to struggle through this, or I'm gonna, just like lifting weights, I'm gonna get hurt if I try to lift more than what I'm capable of. So it's similar to that.
That's a really good analogy. I love that analogy. And just a quick reset. If you're listening on Noon Vibe, you can also watch us live on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Rebecca Norrington. And this is the latest book, Programmed for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth,
Yes, and then
which is on.
hold it back a little bit.
Oh, that's
That,
right.
yeah, and then hold it still.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Nathan. And one of my favorite lines our friend told me last week when he listened to the show. I said, "Did you read the book yet?" And then you said, "I don't need to read the book. I lived it." The best line ever.
That's why I appreciate that, and it's the truth, and it reminds me of when I I think I bought one of Abraham's books, and I started reading Abraham's books, and it's really just her live audio just written down. So no, I don't need to be reading it because I prefer listening. So you can take it as a
Oh,
compliment. I
well,
same with you.
oh, well, great. I'll call you more often then.
Oh, touche.
Yes. And in fact, because I was ordered not to text all the time or stop texting so often. So then I started emailing. I said, "Oh, I can email." He didn't say not to email all the time. He just says stop texting all the time. So that's my loophole. Email him.
Wow, it's sounding like a real bona fide stalker.
Not sounding like I
You
am
you are.
your stalker. You have to be your favorite stalker.
You
Or
are my favorite stalker because you're, I mean, how often do people actually engage and have fun with their stalkers?
thank you.
So you are my favorite stalker.
And your stalker happens to be your favorite stalker happens to be your
Mother. I thought you were gonna.
that's right, your mother.
I'm trying to figure out a way to slip an axiom. It's a tough one, but maybe it will come up in time.
Because it's a tough word that I will never remember.
I think it has to come up in the moment. If a saying comes in, or maybe we're watching a program, that gesticulating is going to stick around. So
Just
I have a creative corner I would love your feedback on.
please.
So this is an idea I have for a video, a little bit longer video, maybe 4 minutes, a mini movie. And the premise is someone who thinks that they are not of this world. They're not human anymore. And they're identified, it's like what you talk about. You identify as something else. So it
I
reminds me.
identify as source. I identify as awareness. I identify as presence. I identify as the God. I identify, yes, the Rebecca Norrington, no more identifying.
Yeah, so that's the same with this person, and they're doing it. I see it as an interview. You know how I do the interviews with the two characters, and this person, they don't consider themselves human, and that's all I have so far, other than the name. The name I have, what they want to be called now, is Vitamin X.
Vitamin
Vitamin
X.
X, because I wrote something down, but because they're nourishing like a vitamin to themselves. They're finally nourishing to themselves and to others, but they don't know how. It's the X, it's the unknown.
Now, the first thing I thought of with X with Twitter. So is that going to be, no, that's totally
It's a little
X.
different. Yeah, anything
Vitamin.
else I could squeeze. I just see it as an interview. Yeah, like a Barbara Walters interview with this
I like
crazy.
I like Vitamin X, and we're interviewing people. We're interviewing each other, and we're both from a different dimension.
No, it's just one person, and the other person is normal. They're the human, and they're trying to understand what's going on.
Okay, so who's going to be the The alien. May I be the alien?
Oh, you want to be in it? So,
Oh, what?
yeah, you can be the alien. I'll be the normal person trying to figure out what's going on.
Or would you be? Yeah, okay.
Could work either way.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure that one out.
Yeah, all right.
Now, one thing I know for sure is people are really tuning out. Now, honestly, we have over almost 40 listeners on Noon Vibe.
It's fine if they're tuning out because we only have a couple minutes left, anyways.
Well, I wanted to share this. Anybody that works at, not works, but anybody that shops at Costco, you were asking me this before, but yeah, they have cycles with the sales. Everything goes on sale, but it's on a cycle. And just for an example, my D3 5,000 milligrams and my B12, this only goes on sale once a year. And so I am getting low and they're on sale now. So if you follow the cycles, you can get everything at Costco on sale. You
And
just have to stock up.
our unofficial sponsor, Costco, if you're listening, help us out. We'll help you out.
Costco and Voss Water. Yes,
That's right.
we're asking for sponsors from Voss Water and Costco. Let's go.
Voss Water, a wetter, better water.
Voss Water.
Ah,
It's wetter and it's better.
it's better.
It's better, wetter.
We got a lot of nonsense today. A lot of
A
fall drop.
lot of
Yeah, listen, I mean, there's a lot of spiritual talk out there. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of mindfulness, self-help. I think it's a relief to have a little falderal, and this is part of our evolution and transcendence too.
yes, and I'm going to go out just stating the end of the
Gestating
show.
and gesticulating and
No, just
gesturing.
not gestating. Gestating is is getting pregnant.
Yeah, that's not quite
Gesticulating.
what we're doing,
Oops,
but
oops, not on this show. Gesticulating. Remember, use your hands out there. That's what they're for.
and if you don't have hands, you use something else.
Thank you. Use your elbows. If you don't have elbows, use your knees. If you don't have your knees, use your feet. If you don't have feet, then use a stick.
And with that,
With that being said,
on that profound note, tune in next week. We'll continue any topics we didn't get to, and we'll continue with any falderal and spirituality and everything in between.
it's time to go. It's time
Heyo,
to go.
it's time to go. Yeah. You know what it is. Get into it. Don't act like you don't already know the name. Let's go. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? You heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. Now it's on. Now let's listen.
Okay, here it goes. Oh, okay. And stop this and string and.